Welcome. These are the stories making the headlines in the Hot 7 Nightly News.
7 homes are destroyed and several families displaced in a Rose Hill New Year's Day fire.
I say first day of the year to see these people lose their houses like that, but that's a burden.
Marine police seek to beef up inspection of vessels for safety equipment after St. Lucian nationals had to be rescued at sea. And we have highlights of all the action from ASU Square 2019, which has been deemed a resounding success. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovely and Amy Joseph.
It is Thursday, the 3rd of January 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 Nightly News. Happy New Year. I am Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. Residents of the Rose Hill community are still in shock and despair after losing everything due to a raging fire that gutted 7 homes on New Year's Day. The incident occurred shortly after the clock struck midnight as the world celebrated the New Year. Rochelle Gonzalez begins our report.
It is the beginning of a new year, but as you can tell from the carnage all around me, for 7 families, there is no New Year's cheer. This is as a result of a blaze on New Year's morning, which burnt 7 houses down to the ground in the Rose Hill community. One resident gave his account of the incident.
I've been really sorry for what happened there, because I say first day of the year to see these people lose their houses like that, but that's a burden. Early in the year, you have to lose your house and you have to work so hard there. They just finished renovate the house just there. People cannot even stay in it because it demolished. 7 houses just go down the drain there, and how many people homeless, and what we're gonna do? You know, life. I would just take it easy, and who's safe? We just thanks God for that.
One resident of the area, who is widely known as Coco, expressed deep sadness over the incident. With that said, during the blaze, he was able to put emotions aside and play his role in putting out the fire.
My son come and tell me, Dada, look by Mopol and them have a fire. So I sat down there playing it, no mind. So at the time I just consider, let me go and see what happening. When I come, I see Mopol gone, I see Nom gone, I see what gone? Oh, me gone? What's going on? So I just had to assist. I can't do nothing else. I just had to assist and help out the fire.
Only last week, this sheet of galvanized was part of a roof which stood over the heads of the residents of this household. Today, it's been reduced to rubble and is now a memory which is perhaps scorched into the minds of the Rose Hill residents forever. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
Meantime, the fire service is giving an account of the fire which reduced the 7 houses to ash in the Rose Hill community. An officer is warning residents of other small and close-knit communities to practice greater precaution to prevent their dwellings from a similar fate.
The St. Lucia Fire Service's David Antoine, who is the Assistant Divisional Officer, sat down with the local media on Thursday morning to give the official details of the New Year's Day blaze, where a number of houses in Rose Hill Castries were reduced to ash, whilst the rest of the island happily ushered in 2019. Antoine revealed that the fire started at around 1 a.m. and required the efforts of the fire officers from the Castries, the Babonneau and the Grosile fire stations.
We responded with 4 fire appliances. When officers arrived on the scene, 4 structures were encountered fully engulfed. The fire was attacked from many strategic points simultaneously before being controlled and subsequently extinguished. Preliminary assessment revealed that 7 houses were completely destroyed in the conflagration. Currently, the fire department is actively investigating the incident to determine the cause and origin. The management of the fire service wishes to acknowledge the hard work of fire officers for speedy response and their professionalism to avert a potential disaster.
Antoine continued on to thank the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, the LUCELEC, and members of the public for their cooperation and assistance in the effort. With that said, he revealed that fire officers were faced with a few challenges which hindered their progress in extinguishing the fire sooner.
No doubt we encountered challenges while battling the blaze. One of them was the access roads were narrow, and that was compounded with vehicles parked on the side of the road, which made getting to the fire difficult. Also, when we got there, the structures were still energized, and that hampered our effort as well. Also, too, the nearby hydrants did not have so much pressure, and that made the water output a little less than desired. And the further of all, I think we had the proximity of the houses. When we got there, 4 of those structures were fully engulfed, but because of the proximity and the energized structure, we just could not have done better.
The divisional officer went on to send a precautionary warning to residents of areas similar to the Rose Hill community.
Our concern as a fire department is that persons practice safety at home, and persons cannot leave their homes with cell phones connected and even overnight, which is that could be a disaster. Also, I think insurance could play a major role in places like that, where persons could have insurance coverage to move forward after such incidents have happened.
The cause of the fire is currently unknown. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
In other news, 7 St. Lucia nationals have been rescued at sea. On the 28th of December, 3 of the men who said they went fishing in waters off St. Vincent and the Grenadines encountered engine problem and had to be rescued by the St. Vincent and Grenadines Coast Guard. On the 30th of December, 4 St. Lucians were rescued while drifting in the channel between St. Lucia and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Solange Alfred reports.
A call of distress beckoned the St. Lucia Marine Unit out to sea on Friday the 28th of December 2018 to rescue 3 stranded individuals along the northwestern coast of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Fortunately, they were rescued by the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Coast Guard and taken back to St. Vincent. Marine Police Commander Finley Leos explained that the individuals have made attempts to return to St. Lucia, but weather conditions have derailed their efforts.
To the best of my knowledge, they're still in St. Vincent. One attempt was made by them the vessel was repaired and one attempt was made to come back to St. Lucia. But because of the sea conditions, they went back. They returned to St. Vincent, and the best information I have at this moment is that they're still in St. Vincent.
Another vessel by the name of To God Be the Glory, carrying 4 stranded St. Lucian fishermen, was also in distress on the southeast of St. Lucia. That information was relayed to the Maritime Rescue Coordination Center in Martinique for further investigation. Leos explained that a Bahamian tanker rescued the individuals and rendezvoused with the St. Lucia Marine Police to transfer the men.
The 4 fishermen were transferred from the supertanker and placed aboard the Marine Unit vessel. They were safely taken to shore. On arrival at shore, they were handed over to CID personnel from the Vieux-Fort station, who recorded statements from them on the incident. So these 2 issues were resolved safely.
In light of the 2 incidents at sea, Leonce highlighted the need for fishers to always have their safety equipment and supplies well stocked, stating that the Marine Unit is looking to toughen up its actions on individuals that are found to be without the required equipment and supplies.
I would like to ask seagoers, fishermen in particular, to ensure that they have the necessary safety equipment on the vessels, especially communications equipment and GPS, the Global Position Satellite System, because that would give us, with the GPS, they can relay to us the exact position where they are when they have suffered an engine casualty or the engine, for some reason, the vessel has broken down. This year in particular, we are starting a program where we will be boarding and searching vessels who are venturing out to sea. And those vessels that are not carrying the necessary safety equipment will be turned back and sent back to port.
both distressed vessels were without proper communication or safety equipment. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solaj Alfred.
The Fisheries Department is underscoring the importance of safety equipment on board fishing vessels. The recent rescue mission of 7 stranded men involved various parties.
In light of the recent event where 7 St. Lucian fishermen on board 2 fishing vessels were stranded at sea and subsequently rescued by the St. Vincent Coast Guard and a Bahamian tanker, a call for proper preparation and equipment on board fishing vessels has been made by Thomas Nelson, Deputy Chief Fisheries Officer in the Department of Fisheries. Nelson offered some insight into the necessary supplies that the Fisheries Department has mandated must be on board vessels that venture out to sea.
Generally, fishers are always encouraged to have with them, when they go out to conduct fishing-related activities, to go out with a suite of fishing gear and equipment. The Department of Fisheries do have a registration and licensing process, and our fisheries officers do conduct inspections of the vessel and the safety gear and equipment that fishers are required by law to have with them. And these equipment and safety gear include, of course, stores. So, for example, adequate food, adequate water, some form of communication device. They are also required to have with them anchors that will help with maybe slowing down of the vessel if they encounter some difficulty, as well as sails and oars.
Active fisherman Lyndon Mitchell drew on his own experience of being lost at sea to offer advice to the modern fisherman. He echoed the sentiments of the Deputy Chief Fisheries Officer and explained that encountering problems when navigating the open sea can be a very difficult task if a fisher is not properly equipped.
For modern fishermen now, rely on like the GPS and always have a telephone with, available credit. Make sure that you have a stock of water and extra like things like dry stores, biscuits and so on. As a fisherman, it's not like when you're on land. If you're on land and you're stranded on land, a friend will pass and see you. And if you're stranded at sea, there's only water and the sky you'll see at one point. And that's very difficult. I have been lost at sea for a while, and I can tell you it's terrible. It's not an easy thing.
According to Nelson, the argument of expensive equipment holds no weight when lives hang in the balance. He encourages fishers to take advantage of concessions available by the government in regards to acquiring safety gear.
Let me say that the government of St. Lucia do provide incentives and concessions on fishing gear and as well as safety gear and equipment for fishers. So at the end of the day, persons can argue whether they are in a good financial position to buy the safety gear and equipment. But how do you measure safety gear, the price of safety gear versus the value of your life?
Nelson added that the Fisheries Department looks forward to working hand in hand with the Marine Unit to conduct spot checks on vessels out at sea to ensure that they are equipped with the necessary gears that look to ensure their safety. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solaj Alfred.
This is the Hot 7 News. Still to come, a sister of the drowning victims over the Christmas holiday speaks to Hot 7. An irate woman calls on the CCC to hear her case after suffering injuries. And residents call on WASCO authorities to fix a broken pipe. Stay with us. There's more news after the break.